It's that time. It's time for me to put on a part that I've had sitting in my garage in the attic for I don't know how long. Long enough. So here we go. It's time for the AEV Snorkel for a 3-liter EcoDiesel Jeep Gladiator. Or as I like to call them, the Dorkel. I've installed quite a few of these. AEV comes with great instructions. They're a quality product. If you can see, this is all a very nice rotomolded product and proudly says made in the USA right there. So same finish as the factory flares, so that'll look nice, and really a good high quality product. There are a few other snorkel options out there. One of them is really popular, the Rugged Ridge one, replaces your factory trim piece here, and you can either have kind of what would be considered a low profile or stealth Dorkel that comes out right here, or you can actually have it that it comes up the pillar. Although ironically it doesn't on a diesel. They don't offer it for a diesel. I really liked that option. I thought that would be the best option, because the downside of using that Rugged Ridge on a gasser is the tube goes right over your battery, so anytime you need to do any service and remove the battery or do anything with the battery, you've got to disassemble half your snorkel. But since this is a diesel, my intake's going to be over here on the driver's side because the factory intake's right here. So we're about to get started. I'm excited for this. Oh, I didn't put my watch on this morning. It's about 11:30, and it's just going to be foggy all day. It's cold. It's not normally this cold. It's like 38 degrees here in Benicia. But we're going to do it, especially because we're looking at like about a month straight of just on-off storms, and we're going to be heading up to the snow a bunch, and I know that I'm going to be driving in some pretty heavy snowstorms. So the diesel comes with, speaking of heavy snowstorms, the diesel comes with the cyclone air separator for the inlet, and it's because there's some programming mass air pressure sensor, volumetric pressure sensor problems with a diesel with just that regular opening. This gives it a little bit of a pressure differentiation and allows your factory sensors to really not notice that anything's changed. There is a TSB by Stellantis to address that if you want to, but that cyclone filter head, really, you don't necessarily need the TSB. You don't get that check engine light. So we're about ready to start here. I'm going to show you what the tool list is that's necessary to get this job done. All right, so one of the first things you're going to want to do here is, of course, all right, one of the first things we want to do is open the hood here. So we need to give ourselves ample working space, but also we don't need to open this super high. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give myself a little bit of working room here, and there we go. That ought to do it, because first we need to tape this off. We're going to use some masking tape here, because this is where we're going to be cutting. We should also be putting a bunch of stuff under here to kind of cover this up. I've got to go find a blanket to make that happen. Okay, after readjusting, I've got my trusty Harbor Freight moving blanket. I use these things for everything. They're great. Usually they have them on clearance all the time. You can snatch them up for really, really, really cheap. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our masking tape, and something that I recommend doing, and that is I recommend giving yourself a nice long run of this, because it's just good practice to give yourself a good amount of working room. So we're going to get this on here, and once we're all taped up, the next thing we're going to work on is we're going to get our template over here, and you're going to want to trim the template. Go. And really the length of this is just to try and mitigate any of the aluminum shavings for when you're cutting your hood, get, you know, to get into your paint anyway along here. So yeah, some other guys like do a targeted job with their tape, but I'm gonna make sure I got plenty of coverage here. So we get this all nice and covered. Our working area is right here. This is our working area right along. I think actually it comes into the R, into the B, right here, somewhere right here. I'm gonna grab my template and get it all cut out, get it on here. This is one of the great things about AEV is the template they provide, right? It comes in the box there, and yeah. And they have this wonderful little 1-inch square, and the key is you want to measure that. You want to make sure that this was printed in the right settings, so that your template isn't too small or too large, and your cuts will be off. But this was provided by AEV. I'm confident enough to not check it, but I'm going to check it because I always do, and that's just who I am, because I'll stay up late at night worrying that I didn't check it for some crazy reason. So we get this cut out, we use our shears, cut it out, and we tape it on the hood. But first I'm going to double check this guy real quick. All right, as you can see, template's cut out. Yes, my cuts are not perfectly straight. I was never good at arts and crafts. But there's a really interesting and important little note in their instructions about this little dotted line right here. There's a little dotted line. And if you have watched all the other installation videos like I have, you'll notice that a lot of people put that dotted line at the very bottom of the hood. And that's not what AEV wants you to do. What they want you to do is they want you to have that dotted line right on the reveal. Right on the kind of where the edge is rolled. That's where they want it to be, is right around there. So keep that in mind when you're putting this on. It's very, very important. So next, what we're going to do is I believe it's 21 1/4 from the edge of the hood back here. We want to bring that up here, so we're going to mark that next. All right, so we're back in handheld motion. So if you can see, this is what I'm talking about. This little line, you want it right at the edge of the roll, right along there. According to AEV's instructions, that's where they want it. They want it right there. So that worries me a little bit, because when other people are doing it, you know, there's I don't know, there's 1/4 of an inch worth of room typically to drill in. So the key here is try and cut further in on the cut line, and then you can just kind of work your way to make sure that it fits correctly. So always cut shallow, you know. You can always remove more. You can't add anything here. So, wow, my hands are shaking. It's so cold. It's cold. Wow, look at that. The fog is definitely coming in. So I got to get this done, guys. My hands are shaking. I can't believe this. It's normally not this cold here in the Bay Area. So let's go ahead and finish taping this in and then drawing out our line on it. And then we can use our hole punch to center in our holes there. And then we got to trim the underside of the hood, the insulation pad. We've got to trim a little portion out of that. So if you can see, I've got the hood flipped up here, and now we get this all taped in place, but you can see this part of the hood insulation needs to be trimmed out. So you need a trim tool for this, pop that out, and then just take some shears or scissors or however, razor blade, whatever you want to do, but you got to trim that portion out. So that's the next step. All right, now you can see we've got that portion trimmed out. We have it taped in place. It's taped in all the way around. And the next part is going to be tracing it. We're going to trace it out. All right, so remember our measurement, 21 1/4. There we go. And then this one is from this point, 5 1/4. There we go. So we're in place. We're good. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to trace this out. Use our hole punch, and that ought to do it. Then we'll be ready to drill. All right, so we need to get our center punch on, and we need to get these in. You can see I deviated a little on that one, so we're gonna try and, there we go. We're super close, so that's good enough. Now we need to get a pilot hole on these guys and drill our pilot holes. All right, well, there's really kind of no going back now. Once I drill this hole, if I can get it right on the pilot, there we go. There is no going back now. Yeah, I should have started with a smaller bit. Time to start with a smaller bit. Our test fitment looks great. So it looks like really all I needed was the one cut. This corner is right where everything's right where it needs to be. I'm looking good. I'm really happy about this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drill out these holes here with that 1/8 inch bit. We're gonna drill those out, and we're gonna place it on here and mark it, drill those holes, and get this riveted in place. Let's get this tape off. That'll be the next thing to do. Oh man, it's so cold. My hands are shaking. Holy moly, this is gonna be a shaky video. I hope the video's stabilization that Apple has is all right. Hey, look at that. So it did get the R just a little bit right there, but that is negligible. So I've done a couple of these Dorkels, and this one has been the only one where I've ever skipped a body saw, and I think it's because it's so cold, my hands just, I can't feel much. We're not used to this kind of cold in California, or at least this part of California, the Bay Area. So yeah, I'm ready to go ahead and get the trim piece on. That's the next step, and we're gonna get this documented. We need to get in here, get this where we want it. We just give everything a little bit of a dot. Whoops, not my jacket. those are our dots. So that's where we're gonna drill. And if you can see, I've given myself plenty of room all the way around. That's fine, that's great, but I'm also gonna use, I'm gonna use my hole punch to make sure that everything, or dimpler, or whatever you wanna call that. You see how close that is? That's the worry, is you gotta leave yourself extra room. I made it in one cut. I think I got lucky, but a lot of guys have this same issue where you're really close on these ones right here. Everything else seems to be okay, but it's always these guys here. Man, it's 37 degrees. Keep checking the weather. It just keeps getting colder. It's a cold day here in Benicia. I'm really surprised. All right, so yes, I dotted them all. Yes, I did this. But in the end, what I'm still gonna do is I'm still gonna use this as my template. And this guarantees that I get them all in the right spot. And you can see all the shavings here. So I'm gonna go grab my vacuum and start vacuuming this up because this is too much for me to handle. So we've got a rivet gun and we are going to go ahead and get these in. Man, it's cold. All right, rivets are in. That looks good. Hood's done. The crazy part of the job is basically done. All of the metal shavings and all of that is done. We still do have to do the A-pillar, but that's nowhere near as involved as this. So this is done. I'm happy. I'm gonna disassemble some of this, and then it's time to start on the actual air box and an air chamber that comes up there. See, I've got the intake tube off. This plastic clamp is there. And on this connector, that gray safety latch needs to be popped out that way, and then you can do that, get that off. Next is you're gonna wanna remove this bolt here, and then you've got these two bolts here that need to be removed. So let's get those off. Those are all 10 millimeter. All right. The next thing you need to do is you got to just kind of work this up. It will pop up. There's just rubber, little tiny rubber grommets that hold it in place. And it does come up, but you're always fighting this coolant hose over here. And these grommets are still stuck down here in the bracket, the big metal bracket. Leave those grommets down there. If when you pull it out and they're stuck to this, put them back in because they're a locator for these two pins here. The next thing we need to do is, well, we got to pop the top off here, get this top off, get the air filter out, and then we've got to remove this big huge plastic piece here. That's next. So let's get this lid off, and the lid's really easy. It's just you know, just like doing your air filter. Come on. Oh, you guys are about to see a dirty secret. I'm sure that my air filter is probably pretty nasty. Oh no, it's not that bad. All right. Yeah, that's not that bad. All right. Okay, and then, so we've got this off now, yeah? Normally there's a bolt right here. I had already removed that when I was doing something else. So now it's just a matter of unclipping inside here. I'm not sure if you can see, it's all black. Everything's black in this world. Makes it hard to see shit. Anyways, you gotta unclip this and push it through. And you can see it already wants to come out. It's just the bottom piece now needs to get manipulated into popping out here. We're almost out. But it's so cold that it's gonna probably fight me here. There we go, got it. All right, so this is actually multi-piece here. This is the important part. This is what we're removing. We're removing these pieces here. These are not going back in the truck. So you can set them aside. I highly recommend just keeping them. There's no need to ditch these, throw them out or anything. Just store them. Yeah, it's definitely necessary to keep your old parts. You never know. You never, ever know. So this is what we're looking at now. And I'm not sure if you can see through this, but there are a bunch of holes all in the bottom there. We want to seal those up. And I'm going to use like mastic tape, which I've used successfully in other snorkel installs. It's very simple. It seals. It works in all weather conditions. They can get brittle if it's like below 20 degrees, but I'll be honest, I've camped in below 20-degree weather, but it's very rare. So again, you can see the holes from the bottom. Those are just drain holes for your factory air box. I'm going to shove some mastic tape in there and seal those up. Let's get this out of the way. The mastic tape in place. And I don't know if you can see anything, but you shouldn't be able to see anything. It's all nice and sealed up. So that's good. All right. The air box is sealed. That's important. Now, the next thing we're going to do, well, eventually, we're going to seal this as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the mastic tape here or if I'm just going to use RTV. Haven't decided that yet. It depends on the clearances once I get the AEV snorkel installed on it, and we'll see. One of the next steps here actually is I've got to trim this tab off. This tab has to come off because it impacts as the snorkel comes up the face of this and comes out. It gets in the way. So we're going to trim that off real quick with the body saw, and then we're going to marry the box with with the snorkel itself. So let's get this trimmed real quick. Let's see. Let's see. That's better. I gotta clean that up. I really don't like how messy that looks. Take a file or a rasp or something to that and clean it up. Okay, now we want to marry the air box with the Snorkel. And this is going to be a tight fit, so it looks like I should be able to just wedge it in and pop it in. But it's really, really, really cold right now. And I may not be able to make that happen very easily. So let me see about getting the heat gun out, and maybe I can do something with the heat gun. That might end up making things... It actually clicked in really easily. I was just being fussy about things. So you can see in there that there's a gap all the way around. I think what I'm probably going to do is I will use RTV on the outside of this. So that'll be one of the next steps. But first I'm going to go ahead and get these brackets on. So I'm going to get this bracket on. I'm going to get this bracket on. This bracket on will be temporary because we're just getting it on so that we can locate it here. And we're going to put some tape on the A-pillar here. We're going to locate the bracket on, and then we're going to draw out our holes, remove the bracket, put the bracket back on to line up with the holes so that we can draw our other holes. That way we can get our holes drilled and riveted on that bracket. So next up is the bracket. We're getting much, much closer here, much closer. So I'm looking forward to this. All right, so we're looking at a, what is that, a T25? And you just want these nice and loose. Oh, it's so cold. My hands are shaking. I hope that I can barely hold on to the tools. Okay, just loose. Keep dropping the tool. Wow. All right, I need two hands. Okay, so we got this bracket on. It's a little loose. We got this bracket on. It's a little loose. In the instructions from AEV, they tell you to tighten this down, but I'm not going to tighten it down. I don't think we need to do that at the moment. I also have this guy in. It's a little floppy. So now it's time to get this in the truck for a test fit. All right, we're going to give this a test fit. And let's see how this goes. All right. So it's not plugged in or anything, but you can see we need to remove this bolt here. I forgot about that one because that's where this bracket goes here. This other bracket over here will line up just fine once everything's where it actually needs to be. You know, there we go. We're pretty close. So now I know I'm going to go ahead and actually I believe I have this bracket upside down. So now, at least now I know where I can put the tape. I need to put the tape over here. It's just sitting and resting right now. I'm going to go ahead and get the tape on that area. And then we're going to bolt it in place so that I can have this exactly where I need to be. Once it's bolted in place, then I can dot my holes for drilling for the rivets to rivet that panel in place. So next we're gonna get this in correctly. I think I have this bracket upside down over here, so we're gonna address that. So we've got it located where it needs to be in here. We've got our bolt down here, our two over here. They're tight. And then now we just need to push this in and get get our markings here, and then we pull it all back out. We drill this, we get this plate in, and we rivet it in place. And then we bolt it in, and we're basically done, except for RTV sealant on this. I may not seal it right now because it's so cold I don't think the RTV is going to cure. And now the wind is picking up and it's blowing my camera around. Yeah, today was a real tough day to do this project in, but it's almost done. As a matter of fact, we can do this now. We can take a look at how well it's sealed. There we go. We're on. We're in, and it's sealed, and it looks good. Man, that looks good. Man, that looks good. Can't wait. So let's make sure that we can finish this up before it gets dark and before I freeze, because it is cold, very cold. And it's starting to get windy now, if you can tell by the shaky camera. Here we go. We've got it marked. Now we're gonna drill it. And you can see these are those rubber grommets I was telling you about. Oh, I wonder if that's from the bottom of, yeah, it is. That's all right, it's still sealed. I knew that was gonna make it difficult. Let me see if I can peel that off with leaving it still sealed. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay, that's better. All right, so you can see those rubber grommets down there. That's what I was talking about. You always got to make sure that that's nice and seated. So now we're gonna drill these guys and then get the rivets in them. Okay, we have the RTV done here. You can't, I mean, I could go all the way down on the sides. It's really difficult to get my fingers in there though. So I did it on the outside here, so you can see we're all the way around on the outside, nice and sealed there. And then if we move to the inside, you can see that we're all sealed all the way across. And also, this plate is riveted in place. I put some RTV on the inside to kind of seal it up, so that should be good. So now we're really ready for this to just kind of go all back in. Everything should be ready to go in. So here we go. Okay, here we go. So we're bolted in here, here, up here. It's all steady. I just need to tighten this guy up. And the air box is in place. So now that we've got all of that in place, I should have tightened this up earlier. Difficult spot to get my tool in. I guess I could always do it this way. There we go. So now we just need to kind of put the air box together, and we've got to put the cyclone up top here. According to the directions, this guy right here should be at about 6 to 7 p.m. So, but I got to drop the hood to do that correctly. So since I got to drop the hood to do that, let's get the rest of this air box assembly back together. Air filter goes back in. Get the lid back in. Oh, that's right. I got to trim off this portion as well. I forgot. I always forget. You got to do it on the box itself, but you also have to do it on the lid too. So let's get ahead and trim that guy off. Okay, air box is in. Connected. That took me longer than it should have, honestly. But it's so cold that everything is difficult. Everything that shouldn't be difficult is difficult. So there we go. Look at that. Now if we go ahead and close this down, we got a nice seal. And it's on. This looks great. The next thing we got to do is get this up and in and let's see. So there's this little guy right here. This is an actual vent. This is a vent right here. And you want that clock at like between 6 and 7. So if you can imagine, you know, noon being directly front, so we're right in that area. So next is we got to get this thing tightened up. I didn't check to see what size it is. I'm assuming it's a 10, but it's not. So I got to get the right tool. We've got a nice even joint across here. Everything looks flush and good. The cyclone filter's in. We're clocked correctly back here between 6 and 7 on the back up there. And everything looks good. I think we're about ready for an engine start. I'm really liking the way this looks. So this is serviceable, if you can see. You've got the screws up there. So that's good. Now, everything looks good. There was one slight problem with this. This cyclone filter just doesn't tighten down to the diameter of this. You can tighten that clamp all the way down and it still won't sit. It still won't grab onto the diameter of the body of that. So in the end, I actually had to play a little arts and crafts. I had some door and window like foam, sticky tape foam type stuff, and I had to get that up there and use that as kind of an interference to help seal it. It's sealed though, it's strong, it's not going anywhere. So this looks great. It's time for a startup. I'm really happy with this. All right, so we're gonna give it a start. She's ready, she looks great. Very excited about this. That's it. I mean, really, it's pretty straightforward. So the only thing I guess is, you know, my automatic rivet tool, my pneumatic rivet tool, it took a little bit off of the black oxide trim on the rivets. But that's the only thing that I could say negatively. Everything looks good. Also, this cyclone filter, the base just doesn't fit on the diameter of the snorkel itself. So you do need to do something about that. I would recommend getting some double-sided tape or you know, some rubber with adhesive on the back side of it or something to make up that difference. Because it's probably 2.5 millimeter difference, but it just won't tighten down enough for it to stay. You can run that clamp all the way down and still pop the cyclone right off the top. So now it's not going anywhere. It's on there. Everything's nice and sturdy. Fitment's great here. Everything looks good. I'm really happy about this. We're about to hit a bunch of winter storms here, and we travel to Tahoe a lot in this truck, and I mean a lot. So having the cyclone filter is really going to help in a bunch of the big downpours. The snow can pack up in the open face filters. I know, I've had it happen to me before. It's no fun getting out and unpacking your Dorkel just so that you can keep driving. Another downside to that kind of, you know, heavy snowfall condition is your headlight buckets fill up and you got to get out and clear those out. So I've definitely played both sides of that game before, but I'm really happy with the fitment. It looks great. I'm not going to notice any power differences because you don't get that with this. This is mostly for dust filtration
in heavy dusty and silty conditions. Water fording, I hope the hell I never need this. I did seal it, but I don't ever want to put myself in those kind of conditions. But thanks all for tuning in and watching along as I struggle my way through another modification on the truck. I'm really surprised. I've got over 150 subscribers now. That surprised me because I never thought anybody would be interested in the stuff that I'm doing. So thanks a lot. Genuinely appreciate it. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to probably go take for a little rip around town. It's really cold. I'd like to warm up. I cleaned up all my tools. I just need to get my butt warm. It's a cold day here in Benicia. California shouldn't see these kinds of temperatures here in the Bay Area. So yeah. My lips are probably turning blue.